This portion of Utah's Morning News is brought to you by Regence Blue Cross Blue Shield.
Joining us live in studio, Dr. Mark Hiatt with Regence Blue Cross Blue Shield of Utah. All right, Doc, help me out on this one. Just because it says vegetarian, does that mean it's going to be good for me?
Not necessarily, Tim. So you've got a baked potato, and it may be better for you than the cheeseburger, but not if that baked potato is topped with cheese and sour cream
and bacon
and butter.
That's the only way I like to eat
salt.
it.
That's the only way I like to eat it. All right, so what do we need to look for then in a healthy vegetarian meal?
Well, I would say, enjoy that baked potato, but just cut back on the cheddar cheese, the butter, the sour cream, and the salt. Have it with broccoli. Because the thing a lot of people don't know is that actually these vegetarian, supposedly healthy alternatives actually contain a lot of saturated fat and sodium. And you can cut back on those things by what you choose to put on those otherwise healthful choices.
You're such a party pooper. So much in the news today about opioids and the dangers of opioids. In some cases, when it comes to things like arthritis pain, over-the-counter stuff might be just as good for you, right?
That's right, Tim. There's actually a new study out that compared opioids to these non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs in treating chronic pain. And the results of the study was that there's essentially no difference, that opioids weren't any better, weren't more effective in treating pain.
That's interesting news considering how addictive opioids can be.
Yeah, so the authors concluded in the study that really opioids aren't worth the risk of that greater chance of addiction and even accidental death.
I'm not familiar with this NSAIDs.
NSAIDs?
What?
Yes.
Yeah.
What is that
NSAIDs,
exactly?
that's an acronym which stands for non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs. These are drugs like ibuprofen that you can get over the counter.
So what do we need to conclude then from the study you were talking about?
Well, really, if you've got pain, you got to consider alternatives to opioids, and those may be effective. Try first exercise, physical therapy, and some of these other over-the-counter medications first.
It's interesting because on the Greenhouse Show, we talk about this all the time, taking a kinder, gentler approach to pests on our plants rather than going straight for the nuclear option.
Sure.
Start with insecticidal soaps or something because it's kinder and gentler. We need to take that same approach when it comes to our health.
Yes, certainly to our bodies. Start conservative.
And a lot of those over-counters that you're talking about don't come with those addictive natures of some of those opioids, right?
Now, I should caution listeners, Brian, that these NSAIDs still have their own risks.
Okay, they do, of
If
course.
taken in excessive amounts, they could damage your kidneys, and they could also cause internal bleeding.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
All good stuff.
But the key thing is that they aren't addictive.
Okay. There you go.
Good to see you, Doc.
All right. Thank you.
This portion of Utah's Morning News brought to you by Regence Blue Cross Blue Shield.